Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. RealitySpirituality. It's a new experience. RealitySpirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one now. RealitySpirituality. You got a question for RLN? RealitySpirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. RealitySpirituality. Oh, now we get real. RealitySpirituality. Yeah, it's time to get down. Yeah, you're gonna feel good now. Real good. Now, that's what I'm talking about.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. I'm your host, Rebecca Lynn Norrington, and thank you for being here. Ooh-wee. Last week, let me tell you something, I was affected by the daylight savings time, and I did not wake up early enough and did not have a show last week, and for that, listen, everything is in order. Whatever happened is supposed to happen. Whatever doesn't happen is supposed to not happen. And so I had a break last week. You had a break from me. I had a break from doing this show. But here we are. Here I am live. I want to remind you the number to call in to ask questions, to ask me questions about anything about what's going on in your life, anything about happiness, whatever you want to know, whatever your challenges are. Hey, if you want to call in and challenge me, I love a good challenge. The number to call in is area code 646-564-9619. Again, 646-564-9619. Who am I? Who is this person? New listeners, let me introduce myself. I am a self-proclaimed happiness specialist. I've been hosting Reality Spirituality Radio for a little over 5 years now. I've written a book, Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness. My second book, Programmed for Unhappiness, will be coming out soon. You can follow me on Twitter at RL Norrington, Facebook, Reality Spirituality, website, RebeccaNorrington.com, blop, blop, bloppity, blop, blop. Oof. This show is about sharing everyday circumstances, what happens in your life moment by moment that is actually subtracting from your happiness. Now, there are a lot of, let me just say this, maybe 98% of the population that, no, I'm not even going to say that because I don't know that. So strike that. What I want to share is what I talk about and what I teach and what I share are trials, my life experiences, my life journeys, what has worked for me. When I was younger, I asked for two things. Number one, to live to my potential, and number two, to be happy. And so this journey on this long journey in life took me to a lot of different places and a lot of different experiences that I just wanted to feel good. That's all I wanted. I wanted to feel good, and I wanted to feel good in every moment, regardless of what was happening. And that was my definition of happiness then, to feel good, And since then, that definition has evolved. And that definition has evolved into, let me just give you a quick analogy. So you're standing out in the middle of the ocean. You're all by yourself. And you're in a small boat, by the way, and the boat is rocking back and forth. And you're standing up and there's a tsunami coming, there's a tornado coming, there's huge waves coming. Remember that movie Castaway? Those kind of waves. But you're still at peace. You're still peaceful. You're still content. You're still feeling this sense of happiness. And for me, happiness is the same as being at peace and being content. So when I say happy, that's what I'm talking about, an internal peace. And I didn't know if it was possible, but I wanted to experience this life, and I wanted to be on this journey that they call life and have that feeling of peace, internal peace, all the time. Now, first, I thought, like most people, that it is impossible. And I'm here to tell you that since I've been on this journey probably over 20 years now, maybe even more, that what I've found is I'm experienced this peace and this contentment more and more and more, especially during those times of, quote, challenges. You know, life throws out all of these ups and downs, all of this stuff, this money issues, relationship issues, health issues, age issues, children issues, coworkers, you name it. Well, all of these external issues. Now we have a presidential race that people are really getting hot and bothered over. And so what do you have control over? I was asked this question a couple of days ago. Why are we, let's see, what was the specific question because I wrote it down. Oh, how powerful are we? Because I always talk about how powerful each individual is. And you have the power, my dear audience. You have the power to react to whatever you're experiencing. You have the power, to choose your reaction to anything you're experiencing. You have the power to choose your reaction to anything you're experiencing. You have the power to control your words, your behavior, your I'm not going to say your thoughts because, quite frankly, I don't have control over my thoughts, but I do have control over how much power I give my thoughts. I have control over how much power I give my thoughts. I have control over what I want to focus on. And in the end, I have control over my personal vibration. How am I feeling? Am I feeling like I'm resisting what's happening? Because you could feel the difference. You can feel when you're flowing, and you can feel when you're resisting. Do I feel like I'm resisting? Do I feel like I'm flowing? Am I trusting? Am I surrendering? Do I know without a doubt that everything is in perfect order? These are questions that I've asked myself for the last 20-something years, and I can feel the difference. Let me share a quick story. And this just happened a couple of weeks ago where me, yours truly, happiness specialist, got really, really, really angry. And I'm laughing because one of the things that I talk about and one of the things that I teach is how expectations and attachments subtract from your happiness. And listen, just like everyone, I thought that this part I mastered having expectations. I don't even have expectations that this radio show is going to be on, even though I schedule it. I don't have expectations about the rest of the day, trust me, or attachments. But the universe, like the universe loves to do, loves to get into the darkest corners that I maybe haven't exposed yet. Okay, so this is the game that I play with the universe. anytime that I'm challenged or I feel a little angry, I say, oh, that just means that there's something that I can look at. That just means there's something that is exposed that I didn't know was there. And as soon as something comes into the light, as soon as whatever it is exposed, then I have the responsibility, I say responsibility, to look at it and to grow from it. That's all this life is about, is looking, is focusing on what, how can I expand? Some people don't like the word grow. How can I expand? How can I expand from who I was yesterday? So listen to this story. Happiness specialist gets angry. And let me tell you something. I was really pissed. So one of my dear, actually I don't really have a lot of friends. Don't tell anyone. Because one of the things that, anyway, I don't need to get in. That's for another show. Very picky and very choosy who I allow in my inner circle, because if I feel let me just get into it right now. No, I'll do it right now. If I feel, and I say feel, any sense of criticism or judgment or any sense of that's it, criticism or non-acceptance from me, trust me, I am ready to, I'm not in that company. So let me share a story where yours truly got angry about 2 weeks ago. I wonder if I shared this already. I don't remember. Anyway, here we go. One of my dearest friends, and I've known her for, oh my gosh, I've known her, I wonder if I've shared, it doesn't matter. I've known her for about 20 years. If I shared this story before, it's only because I live in the present moment and I don't remember what I did yesterday. 20 years, and in that 20 years, I'm telling you, my right hand is up in the air now. We have never had a disagreement. We have never had an argument, back and forth. It is the most peaceful relationship in my life, and it's with another woman. See, that's the real surprise. But let me tell you the makeup of this relationship. So 20 years ago, maybe even longer than that, she was a student in one of my aerobics classes, and so she was really, really good. She's a great athlete. She runs marathons up and down mountains. She's really athletic, and so we developed this friendship Hold on a second. Now see, I've got multitasking. We developed this friendship, and oh, geez, Louise, what is that? Okay, anyway, technical difficulties. We developed this friendship, and so we've been out together, birthday parties. But our friendship isn't an everyday, call you every day, talk to you every day. It's just not like that. It's when it happens, it happens. When it doesn't, we actually have driven to a party together. Listen to this. We've driven to a party together, and then we've gone our separate ways, and she doesn't talk to me, and I don't talk to her. It's really interesting, the dynamic. Hold on a second, my dear audience. I've got to stop this because, okay, back to the story. So that's our relationship. And then maybe 10 years ago, I learned that she has a business, and her business is cleaning. She cleans houses. She cleans office buildings. She has a staff, and she cleans. And I said, really? Wouldn't that be a nice treat? So for the last few years, that's what she's done. She's been cleaning and my house, and I'm saying that because this is part of the story why I got so angry. Now, what is fascinating about life is everybody's got their gifts and everybody has their passions. And when you really tap into that, you're really good at it. It's just, oh, hey, Robert, when you tap into that, you're really good at it. And just like my friend that I've never met, Robert, he is like a master professional photographer. And also I've learned a blanket maker. So these natural gifts that we have, when you tap into that, you're really good. And let me say, you're passionate. And let me say something. My girlfriend is really passionate about cleaning, which she's passionate about other things too, of course, like I said, running marathons and being athletic, but she just loves it. I mean, come on. So she's the best. And 2 weeks ago, like I said, never had an argument, never had any kind of disagreement. 2 weeks ago, for the first time in my relationship with her, I was angry, quote unquote, at her. I even blamed her for how I felt. I even blamed her for why I was feeling. And let me share with you specifics. So I have an extra room in my house, and I'm renting out the room. And let me talk a little bit quieter. So I have a room in my house, and I came home early. And this was the day that my girlfriend was cleaning. And I look in so I'm parking in the garage, and I pass the trash cans, and one of my trash cans is filled all the way up to the top with trash. And I'm thinking, what? It's not trash day. Where did all that trash come from? And I asked her, I said, what did you do that? Because I'm thinking it was my roommate. But I just had a sense. I said, did you throw all that trash away? And if you did, where did it come from? Listen, I throw my trash out every single day. I'm really a stickler about that. Stickler or stickler, whatever it is, whichever the word is. And so she says, no, that came from your roommate's room. Now, I've had this roommate for the last, August, so it's been over 8 months, I guess. Yeah, 8 months, last year, August. And she's been here cleaning the room, and I had no idea that she was throwing out trash from his room. And I'm thinking, trash from his room? He's been collecting trash because she's here every 4 weeks. I said, collecting trash for 4 weeks in his room? And when I say trash, I mean bottles, milk bottles, water bottles. Water bottles, who cares? Milk bottles, Coke bottles, cardboard, food, collecting in his room for 4 weeks. People, my dear audience, I, as a happiness specialist, went ballistic, meaning, this is how I go ballistic. I said, you mean in his room? She says, yes. And I said, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me so I could address it? Why didn't you tell me that he was collecting trash every 4 weeks? Because I had no idea. Because I don't go in anybody's room. That's their room. And this is her answer. And this pissed me off even more than that. She says, I didn't tell you because I was afraid or I thought that you would get mad or you would get angry. Now, back up, my dear audience. Back in the day, if anybody knew me 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, yes, I did have a bit of a temper. That was one of my things. I mean, I grew up in a house where anger was quick and easy. Quick and easy. I was so easily angered. I mean, if the wind blew the wrong way, I'd get pissed off. So that's what she said. She's known me for a long time, and she's seen me get angry over, it's my show, over bullshit. And so that's what happened. And I just stood there with my mouth open. I said, you didn't want me to get angry. And then I said, and here's my comeback. And I said, which of course doesn't add to my happiness, I said, I'm more upset that you didn't tell me. And for the first time in my 20-plus years with this wonderful, kind, passionate about cleaning woman, I was really upset. Now, here we go. I wanted to blame her. I wanted to blame my roommate. But the bottom line is this. I had expectations. Yes, I expected that if anything that was not quite kosher in that room, in the roommate's room, that she would tell me, that she would share with me. I mean, after all, we're friends for 20 years, right? But that's was my thing. Again, all expectations of anybody else's behavior is going to affect and subtract from your happiness. Now, I even listen, I tried to blame her. I really, really, really did. And I tried to think that I was in the right and I was justified. I really tried to think that also, because it's so difficult to look in the mirror and say, oh, I had expectations. But what the universe wanted me to see is I still had expectations with this woman and attached to this woman. Now, I've given up expectations of my mother. I've given up expectations of my son. I've given up expectations of coworkers. I've given up expectations of strangers. I've given up expectations. But for this particular situation, expectations were staring me in the face. And there was the reaction. Now, how was it resolved? Well, I have to say that I stewed in it for maybe a day, like when that day that happened, and stewing in it meaning that, because I had to really figure out what was it and why was it bothering me so much, because I knew it wasn't her and I knew it wasn't the roommate, so I had to do a discovery, and that's what I came up with. So the moral of the story, the lesson of the story, I don't care who it is, any expectations of any person is just going to affect your happiness, and sooner or later it's going to surface as an irritation, annoyance, or an anger, whatever you want to call that emotion. Why is happiness so important? For me, it is a priority. And so now I've gotten to even another level of having no expectations of people that I really, really, really are close to and never, ever have any kind of issue with. Let me read a quick email to you, because this is something else. One of I call it a virus. It is so prevalent in this world. I hear it, I see it all the time. I listen to a lot of talk radio, and just there's a lot of different people that I like, and I because I don't listen to the news, so I listen to people that I like, that I think are intelligent, and I get my information from there. And so I hear a lot of news about people changing bills or writing laws. What was the latest one? Of course, there's this soda bill in law in New York, no more drinking sodas. I mean, people, this virus is people want to control other people. And it is an epidemic. And again, and the only one you can control is yourself. But I remember in my life wanting to control husband, wanting to control parents, of course wanting to control son, and that control is number one, it's a false control, and it's a manipulation. In other words, how I'm acting or what I'm saying is really an attempt to control the other person. Let me be more specific. Last week, I was on the bus, and this gentleman was sitting next to me, and I'd seen him on the bus before. You know, when you ride public transportation for years, you see a lot of familiar faces. You don't really know who they are, but you just say hi because you were on the bus together. And so there was this gentleman, and he was sitting next to me, and he had this machine. It was a handheld machine with this light coming out of it. And I'm looking, and he had his thumbs on it, and I mean, you know, it's eye-catching because now his hands, he's got this portable machine with a light coming out of it, and he's got his hands on it. Okay, so I got to say, what's that? And that's how we finally started talking after who knows how many years on the bus together. And he said it was an energy light healer. Energy light healer or energy laser, not laser, but energy light healer. He called it Scalar, SCALAR, Scalar Energy Light. And I looked it up. It's $3,000 for this piece of equipment. But anyway, so he was talking about it, and he was sharing how it relaxes and how it heals and relaxes the muscles and relaxes the tissues. So I'm interested in that. And then we started talking about healing and chiropractors and doctors, and he told me that he had a really bad back years and years ago, and he went to this woman who was a healer. I guess her title could be chiropractor, but more of a healer. And he said his back was killing him for years, really bad back. He told this long story about how bad his back was. And he went to this woman, she was referred, and she healed his back, and here we go. She healed his back without ever touching his back. Huh? That's what I said. So, of course, I was a captive audience. And what he told me was that her belief is that all back issues that are, and this is just a story, people, so don't take me as a doctor or medical clinician. I'm just sharing a story with you. And in her opinion, all back problems are created from legs and from arms. In other words, there's tension, there's knots, there's things that need to be worked out in the arms and the legs. And then when those things are relaxed and those knots, and I don't know if I'm using the word knots, I don't know what she calls them. When they're worked out, then everything else relaxes, your back relaxes. Now, he told me that it is the most painful session, and I've been to chiropractors, and the current one that I go to, I mean, when he works something out, like on your shins or behind your knees or on your forearm or on the neck, you know, when you get to those points and me working and not kneading and really digging into the muscle tissue, it is very painful. So he told me, he says that the treatment, her treatment is so painful. And he says she works on me for an hour each session, legs for an hour. Next session he would go for arms, and I don't know how long, but it was months, maybe even a year. And now his back is. He said it's like new, like when I was young. He used to be a swimmer. Blah 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 blah. So I'm thinking, wow, is she still in practice? I would like to get an appointment with her. Being the athlete I am with a lot of really tight muscles. And so he said, well, I don't have her number with me. He said, but I'll email you her phone number. And I'm thinking, great. I said, how long ago was this? And he said a few years ago, and she's older, but this is her passion. She's been teaching her daughters, and so she's passing this technique down. And then he goes into explaining to me the medical profession and how the medical profession just wants to cut on you and not get to the solution. The pharmaceuticals, of course, want to sell you drugs and not give you a solution. And I'm down with all, I'm open to all points of views. But then he gets really deep, and he goes into this whole conspiracy, this control, that there are people in the country that want to control your mind. Okay? Now, I'm just telling this story. People in the country that want to control your mind, and he's going on and on and on. And I could see and feel the passion in his delivery of his beliefs. And who the hell am I to say, oh, no, it's not true? I'm not going to say that. So listen. Of course, that's what you're doing. I don't know why I say so listen, but anyway, I'd say that a lot. Anyway, so listen. And then after he said all that, so I looked at him and I said, oh, so you're a conspiracy theorist? You're into conspiracies? And he said, yes, I am. He says, you don't realize how much these people are trying to control your mind. I said, oh, okay, I get it. And then I, put him in a compartment of, okay, he's into conspiracies. I mean, some people are in conspiracies. Some people are into global warming. Some people are into the political race. Some people are into Greenpeace. Some people are into, organic and vegan. Listen, we're all into something. I'm not judging. I'm just saying we're all, and I'm into wanting to experience more happiness, okay? So we're all into something. So I said, okay, that's who he is. Good. Just made everything clear. Now, he promised to send me the email of this woman that is supposedly the best, and I liked it. I liked how he described her, and I'm really interested in making an appointment and seeing, what she's about. I don't mind a little pain to get the knots out, to be relaxed. Oh, another thing that he said, which was really fascinating, he says, the body can't heal unless it's relaxed. At least this is what she teaches. The body can't heal unless it's relaxed. Now, that just made sense to me also. So he sends me an email the next day, and here we go. He gives me her name. He gives me her cell number, and he just tells me, he says, I just call her Eve. He gives me her location, and this is the kicker. You ready? He said, and I'm reading it. He said, Rebecca, you can be very lively, period. When calling her on the phone, you might approach her more businesslike or neutrally. Please say I referred you, but you can also just say a man on the bus gave you her information. Hold on a second. I have to read that again. Are you hearing what I'm hearing and what I read and what I saw and what I read? Rebecca, you can be very lively. Well, I am. Yes, you're right. I am very lively. That's just who I am. When calling her on the phone, you might approach her more businesslike or neutrally. Now, my dear audience, I have to admit that this is something else that just made me, now didn't anger me or anything, just makes me just like, don't you get it? Don't you get it? This person who's talking about, and see, it's the people that talk about other people and what they see in other people and who other people are and describe other people. Everything that they describe is within themselves. And it was the perfect example. This person who's talking about the world and don't you see that the world's trying to control your mind, when calling her on the phone, you might approach her more businesslike or neutrally. This let me use the term. This monkey, I like to call people monkeys. I think it's kind of fun. This monkey is telling me how to call her or how to talk to her. He doesn't, number one, I mean, honestly, when I read it, my mouth just fell open. I was, are you kidding? You have a suggestion over how I speak to somebody else over the phone? You think you know how I need to talk to somebody else over the phone? My mouth is hanging open now. What? Controllers like to control. And I only recognize it because that's who I used to be, my dear audience. I used to be that same person that tried to control people and tried to control how other people acted, how other people responded, especially my relatives, my husband, my child, my parents. Are you kidding? If you were close, my friend, oh, yes. I had a suggestion all the time over how I thought you should act every single time. So one of the most important ingredients in adding to your and subtracting from your happiness is staying out of everybody else's business. Making suggestions to other people about what they should do, need to do, could do, an idea of what they... Now, you can do it. Listen, my hand's up. You can do it. But in reality, what you're trying to do is to control them. And all controlling behavior comes from a sense of not being able to control self, comes from not controlling you, which is the only thing that you have control over. So, dissecting this, now I'm not even going to try to get into this guy's head. I'm not even going to try to say that, because I cannot wait. Now, this is my second thing. I cannot wait to see him again. At first, when I read this, I said to myself, well, I can't wait to see this guy again, because I'm going to tell him, how dare you try to control how I talk to somebody else on the phone. And then, you know, I was going on and on and on with that. And in reality, my dear audience, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say one peep, one word, because what would that get me? Me telling him or confronting him or saying, listen, you're telling me about the world controlling, and now you're trying to control how I speak to somebody else? What's that gonna create? Absolutely nothing. For me, am I causing peace or am I causing drama? That would be drama. And so in every moment when I speak to anyone, in my private life, this is a public, on the radio is public, but in my private life, when I speak to anyone, I'm very conscious of what I'm going to say and what's my intention of why I'm saying it. And it's not a lot of work now. It's very instant. It's quick. Now, I'm not going to say that I have the ability to not be challenged or not have buttons, but because obviously this control button, I recognize it, and obviously I'm thinking, wow, the nerve of this guy telling me. But in reality, the universe just wants me to accept other people for who they are and where they are in their journey, and that's it. Now, I have a lot of people in the queue. Does anybody want to say hello or have a question, or you just press 1? If not, I'm going to, let me add this. I want to give you some other words that I use a lot, and they're words that just neutralize the situation, neutralize another person in their, in other words, another situation. Let me just tell you what they are. Some of my favorite words are just whatever. I either say it out loud or I say it in my head. Whatever is happening, whatever. And another favorite word of mine is just okay. If someone, in other words, when I read this email, I didn't say whatever. I got really into it, and I was, oh, you got to be kidding me. This guy's trying to control. But in reality, another way that's going to really is going to create peace is just saying whatever. The other thing is, and I do this a lot with my mother, is when she suggests or tries to tell me what to do and how to do it. This is my response, which is just a simple thank you. And that thank you is listening and hearing what they're saying, accepting what they're saying, and just saying thank you without this rebut back and forth, or this contention, or this, no, I don't need to hear that. No, I'm going to do it my own way. No, I don't need your suggestion. It's just a sweet thank you. And I want to remind you that nothing is permanent in this life. Nothing is permanent in this world. Everything is changing. Everything is shifting. And really, for me, the most important shift in this life is when my energy shifts, is when I'm in the middle of a tsunami and I can shift my energy, and I'm still in the middle of that tsunami. But the energy, this internal energy, can shift. Now, one more thing I want to add. Oh, let me just run down a list of things that are going to subtract from your happiness. Okay, so staying out of other people's business, not blaming anybody else or circumstances for how you feel, not trying to control someone else with your actions or your words. In other words, but be aware of, are you trying to control someone else with your actions or your words? What is your purpose? What is your intention of conveying a message to someone else? And let me say this. Even people, because a lot of people talk to me and they share with me stories that are, I'm going to say, the opposite of uplifting, which is another interesting topic. Why share a story, like a horrific story, a murder story, a news story, a depressing story, a story that is the opposite? Why are you? I'm just not talking about you specifically, but why are people sharing stories in the news that are not uplifting? That's another thing to be mindful of. I remember a woman came into my happiness class, and she shared the story about a woman that she knew. It was actually a coworker, and her children were at school, and one of the children was in an accident. A car hit her and was killed. And then I'm wondering why she's sharing this story. And I even asked her, why is she sharing it? What is her intention? And later on, after the session, after weeks and weeks came out, she confessed. She actually said that one of her addictions, we talk about addictions to blaming, addictions to control, addictions to comparing yourself, addictions to being attached, addictions to having expectations, all of these addictions to using labels. Yeah, they are addictions, people, addictions to drama. And she shared that one of her challenges or issues or things that she's really looking at deeply is an addiction to sadness. An addiction to sadness, being sad, and really attaching to that sadness and finding some kind of comfort or some kind of in sadness. And so we addressed that, and really all of these addictions, your addictions to having expectations, all of these addictions, all it is a habit. It's a habit. And when the light is shown, when the light is on it, and when you recognize what really is in the corners, sadness, addiction to sadness, that's huge to even recognize that and to say that and to admit it and to acknowledge it. Now you can do something or shift it. Now you can shift it when everything is out in the open. The other thing is having addiction to talking about yesterday. What happened yesterday? What did you do? How was your weekend? What did you do over the weekend? And the addiction to talking about or thinking about or focusing on the future. All of these behaviors, every single one of them that I just mentioned, let me just mention them again, only because I like to be concise and thorough. Staying out of other people's business, blaming other people or circumstances for how you feel, controlling yourself, trying to control somebody else with your actions or your words, having expectations and attachments to those expectations, attachments to the outcome, comparing yourself to others, living in the past or living in the present, and having labels. All of these things are actually subtracting from and affecting your current peace, your current happiness. Excuse me. Someone very wonderful wants to wants to be live on the show. Actually, I have two people. Hold on a second. My first caller, area code 919. You are live on Reality Spirituality. Is this my dear Mr. Jello, Robert Sharp? Welcome to Reality Spirituality. Hey, Robert.
Hey there. Good morning. Boy, you jam-packed with good information today there. Good advice.
Thanks, Robert. I don't remember what I say in the past shows, and sometimes I remember I got a caller one time. She says, sometimes you repeat yourself, Rebecca. And there you go. But thanks, Robert.
Well, that's fine. That's for emphasis. And, for those people who missed the other shows, or for those who have heard it, it's like, okay, I remember that. Maybe I can take it in now.
Yeah. So what's going on with you? Do you have a story to share or something to share with my audience? What are your insights? What's your pearls of wisdom today?
Well, I really don't have any pearls of wisdom. Really, you've covered a lot. The only thing is I just wish everybody a very happy spring and hope everybody has a wonderful spring. And for those friends of ours in the Southern Hemisphere, fall, very nice fall.
What? I love it.
I'm not going to
I love it. And thank you for the reminder, because sometimes I just go through these holidays and these special occasions and just zip right through them. And let me share with you one of the things that I've had to expose in my own life. When I was younger, holidays were a really big deal in my family, from birthdays to Easter to Christmas to 4th of July to Thanksgiving, Groundhog Day. Okay, we didn't really get into celebrating Groundhog Day, but 4th of July, New Year's Day, New Year's Eve. I mean, huge holidays, and with all those huge holidays came expectations of how I wanted to feel and how I had to make this day so special. And, I mean, I love what you're saying. I'm just talking about remembering that I had to let go having attachments to a special day, a special holiday. Because I'm telling you, I can't share how many Valentine's Day days were ruined in my life, and birthdays were ruined because people didn't act or respond, or I didn't have the day that I wanted to have. Can you relate to that at all?
Well, I know what you're saying, and I think the key word that you used with that was expectation, and you talked about that earlier in the show, and how detrimental to happiness that can be. So I understand that. For me, it's celebration. And I've this year, I did my calendars this year. I just put a whole bunch, like 70 different days of celebration on there. Just everything from spring to Cancer Survivors Day, or just Stop Bullying Day, or Love Your Pet Day, or Take a Walk in the Park Day. Just different days, different things to celebrate. And it's for some people, it's a good reminder. It's a gentle reminder to do something special for that day, and it's not saying that you have to do that. I don't have a pet, so, Love Your Pet Day really doesn't have a whole lot of meaning for me, but for those who do, that it's like, and it's not like they don't love their pet every day, but it's like, give a little bit of extra attention, a little extra special thing. And, so I just don't, I don't expect people to celebrate, the days that I put on there. But then, if they choose to, it's, sometimes we just walk through life and we just kind of go ho-hum, and we just, sometimes it's nice to have an extra reason to celebrate, an extra reminder to celebrate something special.
You know what? Okay, so now, of course, you always add so much to the show. I love that. You use this word celebrate, and you just said 70 days, and I love that word celebrate, and you're absolutely right. Celebrate in 70 days. Let's expand it to 365 days.
That was, I actually considered that for next year's calendar. Exactly, and and it's wonderful to do that, and I agree. Why not expand it? And it's wonderful to be able to celebrate every day. And it's just, I think that the key here is sometimes it's helpful to remind people that there is something to celebrate every day.
Yes, exactly. Okay, are you ready for my seatbelt question?
Oh, of course.
Okay, you got it. You got your seatbelt on?
I'm sitting down.
Your imaginary seatbelt. Okay, so question. You're in a relationship, and your anniversary is coming up, the anniversary of the relationship, and the other person doesn't say happy anniversary, doesn't acknowledge it, doesn't give a gift, doesn't even acknowledge it, just quote, pretends or behaves like it's just another day. What are you going to feel? How are you going to feel? Are you going to say anything? What if that happens?
Well, first of all, I would be lynched. No. In that particular case, first, I would be the one to acknowledge it. To me, that's a special day, and so, I would up front, very first thing in the morning, have that special cup of coffee with a happy anniversary card. It's just who I am, and so, in reality, for me,
Okay. So I have to switch it because you're not playing the game right. Okay, so let's switch it. So it's not your anniversary; it's your birthday.
Okay. Yeah.
And your person, the one that you love more than anything not more than anything, right, but the one you love, birthday comes. There's no birthday card. There's no birthday hello. There's no birthday cake. In other words, your birthday is just like the same day that was the day before. Now, how are you going to feel, my dear Robert Jello Sharp?
Well, I'm going to tell you my personal case and then the hypothetical, aspect of that. Because in my particular case, we celebrate lunar birthdays. We start 2 weeks before the birthday and go 2 weeks afterwards. So we have a full month celebration. So we do lunar. As a matter of fact, I'm still in my lunar. I still have till next Saturday for my lunar birthday to end. But hypothetically, if there is a date, that my spouse, significant other, loved one doesn't recognize that I feel is really important, I could, choose to be angry. I mean, it's really up to me. You know what I mean? It's up to me to decide because, here you're talking about expectation. I'm expecting the person to recognize a particular date, and, in reality, sometimes, life happens and things go by. I know many people who just kind of, because life is just so hectic and frenetic for them, that they just forget the day of the week, the day of the month, that kind of thing. So let alone, special occasions. So, sometimes that happens. Dates slip through. So if it were really that important to me, I would make sure that the person recognized that for me, this was an important date. By the way, I am just having great fun on my birthday. I'm going to go ahead and take a little extra time to myself. I'm going to go do this. You know what I mean? I'm going to celebrate me, And,
so now, yeah, so now you hit on something that is something that I had to learn. And I had to learn this, as most of the things I had to learn, the hard way. And that is, what's important to me, and I'm going to put this on my list too, what's important to me is not important to everybody else, period.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so when I really got that, what's important to me, because I really had that with my son, don't you get it? This is really important to your mother. I'm your mother. And what's important to me is not important to everybody else. And that was and so I want to throw that out because I get what you're saying about the birthdays, and I totally get it that, listen, I celebrate my birthday, but in other words, to have, like you said, have that expectation or even or want, and sometimes what happens in relationships, and I'll just be very honest, people feel a sense of obligation whether they want to do it or not, and they feel a sense of obligation to the other person so as not to, quote, disappoint them. In the meantime, I'm just talking about my life. In the meantime, right, they don't want to do it, or they don't want to celebrate, or they don't want to do they don't feel like it. I'll give you a perfect example. Just yesterday, someone very close to me celebrated. It was his father died 3 years ago, and so I text him and I said, because I knew the man also, and I said, happy birthday, to this person. I don't want to give any specifics because people listen. Mm-hmm. I said, happy birthday, to your departed father. I didn't say departed father. I just said happy birthday, and I put the name there, like the energy is still around. Right. And so he texts back and he says, yeah, we're going to the cemetery today, and I text back and I said, well, your father isn't at the cemetery. Your father is everywhere. In other words, you don't have to go to the cemetery. And he says, yeah, I know. But the reason why he's going to the cemetery on his father's, quote, birthday is because his mother wants him to go to the cemetery on his father's birthday, wants the whole family to go. And so, oh, Jesus. And so it is an obligation. It's an obligation, and he's doing it because he's obligated. And that's a totally different show. Robert, that was a great topic, right?
Yeah, and, there's, with that, it's up to, your friend. Sometimes we do things for other people, because we love them. You know what I mean? And yeah, he may recognize the fact that, the gravesite's not where his father is at. For some people, particularly in an older generation, it's, the act of going to, a gravesite, it's kind of like, it brings it home. It's still part of a physical connection, even though the person's in spirit. And, for me, I hate funerals. I just don't particularly like funerals. To me, there's no sense or recognize that for some people, that funeral experience is, for them, to help them, give honor, respect, or feel that connection, to the person who's passed, but, and for them, that's their way of doing it. And that's fine. That's cool. I mean, some people, need that particular physical experience, versus some people, can recognize that connection to spirit without having to have that.
Right. But I'm really focusing on obligation, and I'm here to say that and this is a totally different topic, so I'm going to have to address this because this is very important. In my opinion, if I am doing something out of obligation, I don't care who it is or for what, I am subtracting from my happiness. And I'm going to talk about that because that is huge, where I was taught, you love them, then you're obligated to do A, B, C, and D. And this obligation thing is a drain on happiness. It really, really is. Whether you get it now or you don't. When I say get it, whether you agree with me or not, I'm telling you this obligation, and to the point where I've told my son, no obligations to me, zero obligations to anything. And, we're practicing that. So obligations always subtract, my opinion. Yeah. What do you think?
I agree. Well, I agree if you're doing something that you don't want to do because of, some outside, sense of having to do it. So, I agree that if you're doing something that you don't want to, then it would detract from your happiness. And I think the key is how strong do you feel that it is something that you don't want to do. And I think it's real important to express, why it is that, one doesn't feel that way. Like, for example, the one going to the grave, if the friend really felt that, strongly that it's like it's ridiculous to have to do that, and I'm only doing it because you want me to do that, blah, 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 then, that's fine. Then they should be able to say to the mother, listen, I'm connected with Dad. I feel him constantly. I know he's around me. I don't need to do that. I understand that, some people want to. Then that's fine. But, that's just something I don't feel the need to do. But then, see, what happens then is that there may be, backlash, from the mother.
Exactly, so there you get into the issue. And I have to say that my thing is I don't want to go to the gravesite. I don't feel like it. I don't want to is enough. I do not need to explain even to my own mother why. No, because I don't need my son explaining that to me why he doesn't want to. My son just says, no, Mom, no, thank you. But see, you said it. Then there's backlash. And so now we have a whole nother can of worms, because if you because that backlash is because you want to try to control somebody. I want you to go. Backlash? Ooh, oh Jesus! I gotta go. This show. The show's almost. Is it still recording, Robert? Even though the show's over.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, it does go into overtime, so it does still record, even though it's not streaming live. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So see, but now you got the backlash, and now you have the mother who's disappointed or shows disappointment and doesn't allow a child. Actually, he's not even a child anymore. He's in his 60s, and he's going to the grave. He's still doing what his mother wants him to do, which just But again, everybody's got their own journey.
That's right.
Yeah, right. But so I'm not into the explaining. No, I don't need to explain anything to anyone. Yeah. I just don't feel like it.
Well, that's fine. And you don't have to. If you don't want to, you don't have to. I mean, that's the joy of being able to walk your own path.
Robert. Robert.
Yes?
I love you.
I love you, too. I always love our wonderful, lively debates.
Lively. Yes, I am
lively person. I thought that was funny. Just look at our blab and you see how lively you are.
What this guy doesn't even know. Wait until he sees me the next time. He'll see how lively I am. I might just be extra lively. I'll show him. I'll be as lively as possible.
You want lively? You haven't seen lively.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, I'm going, and I loved our blab thing. I'm going to have to start. I want to start doing blab like weekly. I think. How's your blab going?
Well, good. I've got one scheduled, an interview scheduled next week with a woman, Millen Livis. She was on my show, and she got a new book out about financial freedom, and I'll be doing one with her. And then I am going to be on there's another network called Intuitalks that someone that we know that started, and they have video, as well. It's a kind of online chat, and I'll be on there on Wednesday night. So it's fun. I enjoy it. It's great.
Yeah. Okay. So everyone, please follow Robert Sharp. Tell everybody where you are and your information.
My website, www.biteradio.me, bringing the inspiration to earth. Got my calendar there, and by the way, thank you very much for your comments about my photographs. I love my little nature photos, and
they're the best. They are the best.
Well, you have a happy spring if you want.
No, I am going to happy spring. I'm going to have a happy spring, and thank you for reminding me, and thank you for just allowing me to be me. That's what you do, and I really appreciate that. I really do, Robert. Thank you.
Well, you are lovable as you are. So,
excuse me. Did you hear that? Did you hear that, everybody? Did you hear that? Do you know that my son told me, because he was here a couple of days ago visiting for a little bit, and he says that he's still working through some of the things that annoy him about me, and I was in disbelief. Annoy him about, he said before, but obviously there's certain things that annoy him about me. I mean, I'm annoying to somebody? Him? Oh, gee, it's unfathomable. I just don't, I can't even imagine. But anyway.
Something that's not logical. So. Okay,
all right, Robert. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
All right, bye now.
Okay, so everybody, here we go. Reality Spirituality is heard every Sunday at 7 a.m. If you want to go to my website and get some information on the coaching problems, just go to RebeccaNorrington.com and email me at info@RebeccaNorrington. Follow me on Twitter at RLNorrington. My Facebook page, Reality Spirituality. Go to that Facebook page and like Reality Spirituality. That's an order. And the Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness, you can find that on Amazon. I want to remind you, you are a physical extension of the universe. You're always changing. You're always growing. Love is patient and love is kind. Be patient and be kind to yourself. Be your own best friend. Remember, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. Talk to you again next week. You've been listening to Reality Spirituality. Thank you. I love all of you. I really, really do. Working on accepting all of you, too.
It's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's the new experience. Spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one. Spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby.